Parents of tweens, if you're familiar with far-off drop-offs...
Dad, stop, right here.
Or get DMs about what's for dinner, you may be experiencing tween milestones. For your son or daughter, these can start at age 9. HPV vaccination, a type of cancer prevention against certain HPV-related cancers, can start then too.
For most, HPV clears on its own. But for those who don't clear the virus, it can cause certain cancers later in life.
Embrace this phase. Help protect them in the next.
Ask their doctor today about HPV vaccination. Brought to you by Merck.
The rural way of life is about making everyone feel at home. Tractor Supply chose advanced 5G solutions from T-Mobile for Business to transform intelligent customer service. Together, we put the power of AI to work across 2,200 stores, keeping things running seamlessly inside, curbside, and countryside. This is elevated customer experience. This is Tractor Supply with T-Mobile for Business. Take your business further at T-Mobile.com/now.
We're back with another episode of Horror Movie Night. Kyle, this week, for some reason, you're making us watch a DCOM called Phantom of the Megaplex. Do you want to give us some context on that?
I do. I want to give you some mega context on it. And we've worked ourselves into a corner here, and this might be the most difficult part of having chosen anniversaries for this year's Horror Movie Night, but it corresponds with a newly launched podcast on the Geekscape network that I'm a co-host of, called Phantom of the Podpera. So this is the only Phantom of the Opera thing that might match Horror Movie Night that was also celebrating an anniversary. And I'm so happy, A, that we're doing it. I'm sorry it's not too much horror, but I think we're going to have a good time nonetheless. B, that my co-host, Evan Fonseca, is here to join us.
Woo!
Welcome.
Welcome, Evan.
Thank you for having me. I'm a phantom of a wholesale club.
Yes. So, Kyle, I don't know if you knew this or not when you made this pick, but during the pandemic, we all did things to pass the time. And my decision to pass the time was to watch every Disney Channel original movie that was available on that streaming app. And this was my number one favorite Disney Channel original movie from that experience.
Is that right?
I never would have considered picking it for this podcast, but
over the one where Bryan Cranston plays Santa Claus?
Yep, over that one, over Brink. There's
we bring up a lot on this show.
Brink is great. Brink is a solid number 2.
Great.
I'm always on the brink of bringing up Brink.
But I really and here's the thing. I like this movie. I'm going to jump towards the end here. I like this movie because I think that while it's being, this like horror adjacent kids movie, it is also like a beautiful love letter to the power of cinema that is like hits its pinnacle when we get this speech near the end of the movie. And I found the speech to write it down in here. And this is, he says, when we arrive in the world, magic is around us. You simply have to be a baby to discover a butterfly or a toddler splashing in a bath for the first time. But as the years pass, our simple pleasures aren't as simple to find. The myths and legends all fall away. Santa's secret becomes revealed. Magic tricks lose their fascination, and true wonder is hard to come by. But there's always magic at the movies. There's pirate ships and bicycles that can fly and angels earning their wings and beautiful women marrying handsome men. And we all learn that there's no place like home. To destroy that magic, to shatter those moments, to me is a sin so grave, it would almost be incomprehensible. Like, I love that speech so much.
Just bawling.
It's a really elaborate way of saying one day you discover internet pornography. It's like a really
precursor.
roundabout way of saying, like, so one day you're a child, and then one day, porno, always.
What's the Kevin Smith quote from one of the evening of Kevin Smith? He's like, everything's magical, then you bust your first nut and the world has changed.
Nothing's
We
ever as
talk
good.
about.
Yeah.
We talk about that a lot. That's gonna be a common occurrence on Phantom of the Podpera
Busting a
because
nut.
post nut clarity is a really big factor.
How is that
in-
show raunchier than HMN already? It's so
Oh,
funny.
yeah.
to me.
There's yeah. It's,
I'm not saying that
Here's
we're
why.
raunchy.
Because
I'm just saying
traditionally, here's why. Because traditionally, as co-host of Phantom of the Podpera, I feel like I'm an authority of types on the Phantom of the Opera. And no matter what version or adaptation you're reading, the Phantom is always portrayed, even in Phantom of the Megaplex, and we'll get into it, the Phantom is always portrayed as a man who has never ejaculated in his entire life.
Well,
No
you
matter
know, you
what
gave
medium
that
you're in.
example. That speech that I just gave was given by Mickey Rooney, who, like, I don't ever want to imagine him discovering internet pornography. So that was like an extra layer that you threw
Don't
on
worry,
there.
he did. He's still as pure as day. Well, actually, no, that's not true.
Listen,
watched
we all
Silent
seen Silent Night,
5.
Deadly Night 5.
Yeah.
He's not
We
pure
love,
anymore.
yeah, we love Mickey Rooney, though, the original Mr. Steal Your Girl.
You know, Matt. So you're right. You're right. This would not be normally a horror movie night pick, but because we're doing a little Podpera crossover and because we're celebrating anniversaries, this movie is celebrating a 25th anniversary this year.
I do want to throw out, this would be perfect. Like, if this was the pilot of a TV show, this has Patreon pilot written all over it.
It
Yeah,
does.
but-
It does feel that way.
But fucking 91 minutes of this?
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
very
Scott,
unhappy with this.
Scott,
There's a lot of...
I knew that you were going to be unhappy, and I understand, and I'm not sorry, but I am. I do hear you.
I'm just
It's
saying,
okay.
if
I
you
don't
could
take
have
it
found-
personally.
If
No,
you could
no,
have found an anniversary to, like, the Phantom of the Auditorium Goosebumps episode, I would have made an exception and been like, yeah, let's just watch that 40-minute Goosebumps episode.
Yeah, it's close enough. It's close enough. But no, Phantom of the Megaplex is so loose upon Phantom of the Opera, but there is a lot of cinema and movie love, and particularly like a little bit of horror or B-movie horror love or B-movie love that happens at the Megaplex, the 26 screen Megaplex that this takes place at. It's absolutely insane. That's a big old theater, but we only
Kyle,
really
sorry.
ever see 4 theaters.
I just researched it out of curiosity. This year is, in fact, the 30-year anniversary of the Goosebumps episode, Phantom of the Auditorium.
Guess who's coming back? I'll be back.
Yeah. We'll be back.
I'm not sure if you want to
That
do a tie-in for the Patreon pilots or something like that, but
Maybe we'll have you come on Podpera and we'll just break chronology immediately just to have Horror Movie Night on. But before we dive into the layout or the outline of this, which is not a lot of stuff, honestly. It's not.
I don't know. I have
But
pages and pages and pages of notes. So speak for yourself, I suppose.
You have pages. And
I took one note. Can I just tell you my first and only
yes,
note?
tell you your note. I feel like if you just have the one, go for it.
Just get out of the way. I'll just go on mute. Racy Lacey?
Racy Lacey?
One of my few notes said,
She's
man,
Asian.
Racy Lacey is
So
a real rough nickname 25 years later.
Awful. Man.
It's bad. You can't, if you're going to name her after her speed, and that's why you said racy, we need to really, really dial back the other definitions of racy. So
Or
that
just
they are
name
not
her
part
something
of
else. You could, if her speed is the whole point,
Anything.
call her Speedy Stacy. I don't know, because everybody's got to have some
anything.
dumbass fucking...
Fasty Casty.
Definitely.
Good
I'm
computer.
surprised for a 2000s Disney movie they weren't like, there's Fatty Patty over here, she's slow. I mean,
Like,
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, they said
I
that
was
name.
floored.
Not only
I was
did they
floored.
say that name, just in case you missed it, it comes up on the screen too as confirmation.
Yeah, there's no question that is what had happened at all. Well, this is a crazy array of characters happening here at the Megaplex as we get the rundown right out the gate. But Evan, you were not super stoked about having to rewatch this either.
I don't.
Good.
I
All right,
watched
we're
it-
together.
I watched it as a boy, And I remember because as a big Phantom fan, I don't know if you can tell, I
For the Patreon can tell.
I'm wondering. No, we get to find out how much of a Phantom fan you are if you keep that on the. So for the listeners,
that's the plan.
Evan is wearing Evan is wearing a Phantom mask. So
Also,
pay for the Patreon and see it.
We're already so off track, but I need to. This blows my mind that this movie, Phantom of the Megaplex.
Yeah.
One of the rare decom Halloween movies. Like you had Halloween Town, you have this. There's maybe like 5 others. Debuted November 10th.
They just couldn't.
They blew it. And then I wonder what came out. Then what came out that October? Because there's a movie every month. You know what
Evan,
did they decide?
If you know anything about me, I'm already typing in the list of Disney Channel original movies. So let's find this.
Well, listen.
While he looks at that,
I was going to say,
Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire. Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire came out.
Okay,
big
that's
run.
pretty good.
Competing Halloween, Deep Impact Armageddon. Just competing Halloween decoms.
They probably felt a little bit more confident in 2000 having Carol Rhea still like part of Sabrina the Teenage Witch as their lead over old Mickey Rooney being the biggest
Mr. Sheffield. Mr. Sheffield plays the vampire.
That's true. Yeah. Robert Carradine.
Hot off that nanny money.
And sorry, Robert Carradine plays the vampire hunter. He plays the Van Helsing in that. Man, we should watch.
Does he really?
Mom's got a date with a vampire for this podcast.
So that's an anniversary this year.
That is an anniversary this year.
We put a really solid.
I feel like Scott will hang himself if we do 2 decoms in 1 year. He already suffered.
I was going to have a really.
He went through the Halloween Town with us that 1 year. I think that was his breaking point.
That was tough. Halloween Town is rough. I don't love rewatching it. I was gonna have a nice big fountain drink to go along with today's episode, but I just didn't make it to the gas station that has one. So I'm just drinking a Polar root beer to go along with today's episode.
I also. What did you get?
I brought a beer.
Is it piss? I can't see it because of your background.
It's invisible. Ooh, it's a spooky beer. It's a
Phantom beer.
It's a Phantom beer because you're a kid. You brought it into the theater.
Hold it directly in front of your chest, Evan.
Oh, hey. It's just hop to it. West Coast IPA. Just nothing fancy.
Very, very.
There you go.
And I wanted to feel like I was living in 2000, and that's probably when I first had vanilla Coke. So I had to have a vanilla Coke because I was not drinking alcohol in 2000.
Full fat vanilla Coke.
Yeah, I don't fuck around. If I'm drinking soda, I'm gonna drink the kind that's gonna rot my teeth, make me fat, and make my heart explode.
God bless. Oh my God, I don't like the half mask there while you were sipping. Very scary.
It's spooky.
So I suppose I'll dive in to Phantom of the Megaplex and Evan. I know that you will fill in blanks as I go, so I appreciate that.
I always do.
We're gonna hang out with Riley, who is 17, and he is the assistant manager at a 26 theater megaplex.
And he's not Hayden Christensen.
No, he's not Hayden Christensen as much as you might think that he is. He is not.
No,
he does have the bleach hair. He's got the spikes, but he is not. He's not Hayden.
No, he's in fact Oliver from the OC.
Oh my
is that
gosh.
right? Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
This is good to know.
Yeah, Oliver from the OC, and he also had a run on Dawson's Creek for 3 episodes as Patrick.
And he gives off those vibes.
I'm a geek
he does.
for the Creek. I didn't know he was on Dawson's Creek.
Oh man, should we make a new podcast called Dawson's Geekscape, and it'll just be an episode by episode?
Book it.
Dawson's Creek recap
sold.
podcast.
Hell yeah. I'll watch it all again.
Riley has a boss, Sean McGibbon, who has not ejaculated ever.
Not once.
Who's having a hell of a time.
Spoiler alert.
Wrangling his mostly teenage staff at this megaplex. Who we all meet really early on in a very 90s, obviously early 2000s layout of characters where a narrator gives you the rundown of each of these characters. So we have that nice sequence right out the gate. The only people who are not teenage staff besides Sean McGibbon, the manager, is Merle, the projectionist, who Evan and I looked up. He was 27.
Oh yeah, that guy. That was a bummer to hear. That guy was like 27, 28 years old.
Yeah, and he did not look that. He looked like he had been actually maybe an actual full projectionist at a 26 screen megaplex. And then Mickey Rooney, who is not actually a part of the staff. He's just a loitering cinephile who might live in this building.
Yes.
So
which is pretty crazy.
I noted that they say
he's a volunteer.
They say somewhere he's never worked here, and homeboy throws out his schedule all the time. He's not a real employee, but he shows up every day anyways. And I wrote, call the police.
Well, so you're missing a key. You're missing a key.
Get him out of there.
He's never worked at the Megaplex, but his family owned the original theater that the Megaplex tore down and built. So I feel like it's like one of those situations where it's like, you know, well, you're tearing down my family's thing, but I get to come here whenever I want. No one can bother me. Like,
I can't believe he got the golden ticket to this fucking place.
They got the key to the city, but it's just the Megaplex, which is the size of a city because it's 26 screens.
Which is insane.
So crazy.
Do you know how big? That's got to be an entire fucking mall.
Yeah, that's a mall. It's inconceivable. It's inappropriate.
Listen, they didn't say that it was a minorplex, okay? It's a megaplex.
Sure. And not a multiplex, megaplex.
Not a microplex, megaplex.
Macroplex.
It was the first one to close down 10 years ago. So they're getting this theater prepared for not only their regular run of screenings, which feels like it's on a weekend. It's very busy there. But they're also going to have a world premiere of a movie called Midnight Mayhem, which couldn't
look
when they show you the poster
of a movie. Couldn't be a worse looking fictional film. Like the fictional films that Steve Martin directs in Bowfinger are like you would consider that more of a blockbuster than these Midnight Mayhem shenanigans.
It does look like it would be Carnosaur 7 and really just like a book version. It's just Midnight Mayhem doesn't even speak dinosaur in its title.
It's a dinosaur theme.
Right there on the poster, it's a fucking dinosaur.
Can't miss him.
And so Sean McGibbon, the manager, and Riley are really trying to hustle and get these things together, and just things are not working out. This is even pre-Phantom, because there will be a Phantom, I promise you. But right now, things are still a little messy. People are calling out the day of this premiere, and things are not looking up.
Can I tell everybody?
For Riley, who is really putting his best foot forward.
Can I tell everybody what you said to me when we watched this film together? And Sean McGibbon,
because I don't remember.
Sean McGibbon as the manager, he's got all his teenage crew, and he's like prepping. I'm like, hey, we're gonna have a crazy busy night tonight, and on top of that, we got the premiere. Everybody, best behavior. And he says, and remember, a smile at the door, and then all the kids go, leaves them wanting more. But Kyle goes, a smile at the door, drops panties to the floor. And I just thought, Kyle, you've never worked at a movie theater, have you? This
well,
shows.
It was I thought it was the Phantom of the Pornoplex. I thought we were talking about this earlier.
The 26 screens of the adult theater. You haven't thought of the smell.
That'd be crazy. No. Horrible. So it is kind of a fun setup. The idea of us or these characters all rushing around the movie theater trying to get it situated. It speaks volumes to like a Disney movie. It's like it feels like great Disney fodder for also people who liked watching, like going to the theater, watching like classic movies or repertory screenings. Like it just has this energy of people excited, and that leads Mickey Rooney to like call out people who don't know enough about movies. It calls out Riley to clean up all these messes, and now Riley also has to deal with his younger siblings who get dropped off at the theater because so that their mom can go on a fucking date.
A date?
It seems to not really have any
and the date is like
purpose.
so. The date's purpose is to get the kids to the multiplex or the megaplex.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like we could have found out a gentler story arc that's not, hey, this mom is going to get proposed to.
There could have been a
What?
subplot that got the kids to the megaplex that wasn't, hey, these 3 children have no father.
right.
Like this
Easy.
sad as shit plot line of like 3 fatherless children trying to marry off their mother, and it doesn't matter. What are we doing here?
It doesn't matter.
What are we doing?
Yeah, it's very weak. It's very wiggly. It's a weird one. But all of this to say, this is a lot of setup for saying that there is a legend at this theater that there is a Phantom of the Megaplex. That it just causes chaos, and we start, as things continue to go wrong as they prepare for this premiere, we start to wonder if maybe there is a phantom behind things going wrong. And these things going wrong are not just, the projector burning up, or the fountain drinks and straws flying everywhere. That's not the Phantom's fault. The Phantom does crazy shit, like bring a industrial sized fan into the screening of this Twister knockoff, whose name I completely forget.
Tornado
and blows the audience away. It's not Tornado Song, but it sounds very similar to Tornado Song. The Phantom is more of a trickster and less of a killer. Though there is I just want to point out that there is a movie called University of Death that's playing that I would really fucking love to see. I wish we could do University of Death.
It was PG-13 though. It screams Platinum Dunes.
it's that's true. That's true. It might not have been that good. So we just sort of like, once we get past all this expository stuff, we just sort of go note by note. The Phantom is doing some weird stuff while also the big brother is trying to like finagle his siblings to follow the rules of the movie theater, which means that like the youngest one needs to be chaperoned. The other one can't sneak into another theater. Like it's a farce for the middle part of this movie.
I mean, yeah, it's worth noting that no part of this is a one-to-one like parody of Phantom of the Opera, outside of there being a Phantom, kind of.
Yep.
And it's kind of theatrical, but not in this megaplex whose decor theme is movie theater.
Well, so let me ask you guys as the 2 experts, though. How often do you find that people will like claim that something is like, oh, this is the Phantom of the blah blah blah, and like what they actually just mean is like someone's out for revenge? Like it, I feel like there's so many things that aren't even remotely inspired by, like it would make more. They're already showing us the clips from the Lon Chaney Phantom of the. It's the first thing we see.
Oh, right out the gate. First thing we see.
So it's like, why not? Why does it have to be this movie premiere? And why can't, like, I feel like it would make more sense for it to be like, hey, this lost Phantom of the Opera movie from the 20s has been found, and we're gonna get to play it at midnight in the theater, and someone's like trying to like
Someone's trying
screw
to
up the
sabotage
screening.
us.
Yeah, like make it a little extra meta,
That's a great bit of business, and I also think that's still family friendly.
Yeah, I was about to say that was what I was thinking.
Like
we have to think about the audience of this in 2000. Like, are kids going to give a shit about that? We're talking about this as adults. This is very a kid-centric movie.
I feel like I mean, they start out with that, so it's like, what's the point? But I don't know. I think that there is a world in which that could happen, but I think that you get too deep into it. I bet you this is probably how the conversation started, like when they're trying to make this movie, and then they're like, wait, no, never mind. Nobody's going to care about Phantom of the Opera, so let's just like have a ghost at a theater, and then we'll just go from there. And it's kind of, there's a lot of Phantom adaptations, and I'm using adaptations lightly. This is on the list of long sort of what people consider direct adaptations, or at least direct references strong enough reference where a whole thing can be built off of it, but it's not really an adaptation by any means. Inevitably, we're going to talk about it on our show. I'm glad we're talking about it here first, because I think that it is more of just an existing movie than a Phantom.
Well, whenever you get there, you could also re-release this episode on the feed as like a...
That would be great.
I have a quick question for you guys.
I'm down for that because less work is better for me.
That's called working smart, not hard.
That's what I'm saying. Work smarter, not harder, y'all.
Yeah. So I do have a question about the Phantom of the Opera, and I have only listened to the first 2 episodes of Phantom of the Podpera. And so if I'm an idiot for not knowing this, just keep that to yourself.
I'll let you know for sure.
Is the Phantom ever an actual ghost, or is he just like a deformed man?
Great question.
Great question. As far as I know, and as far as everything that I've seen, always a person.
Always a guy.
It would be so sick if he was
always a
ghost.
guy.
Like they call him the ghost of the Phantom Ghost from Box 5.
No, Scott,
but
I know.
Give me a real ghost. Give me.
Dude, I mean, let's be real, because we've not said this, that Scott is also. I mean, if you don't listen to it, if you're listening to this and hearing about Phantom of the Podpera for the first time, and you don't fucking care for what Evan and I are saying, which is maybe listen for Scott's theme song.
It's a really fucking good theme song.
Dude, it was really fun. Thank you guys so much. It was so much fun to make, and it was really fun because Kyle and I got to collaborate on it in such a way where, and I apologize to him profusely, but he understands that art doesn't care about a schedule. I still got it done in time, but it took a long time because we kind of like meandered through a bunch of different ideas. And the funny thing is that what really cinched it was Kyle gave me lyrics, and I was like, okay, well, these will help me, and I'll probably use a little bit. All the lyrics are Kyle's, and the cadences just fell right out when I had done. We got like a concept that we both were happy with, which was what we eventually went with. But like the thematic, like musical concept was there, and I just sat down and I had done a very rough scratch track of the guitars, because it was all guitar at the time, and the lyrics just lined right up. It was perfect. And so I was like, and it was, so it's, again, art doesn't have a schedule. When everything lines up, it is, sometimes it's supposed to be that easy, right?
It is.
But I definitely want to give you props for that.
I didn't realize Kyle was the Bernie Taupin of horror movie night.
He is now, baby.
Whoa.
I think the crazy thing about that is that, like, just to relay it back to what you were asking, no, he's always a fucking guy. And so even though, like, but that's the perpetual disappointment that I will say.
I feel better about that.
About Phantom of the Opera forever. For any iteration of Phantom of the Opera, is that he's not not actually supernatural. Ever. I would love to see a Phantom of the Opera where he's a ghost, and I'm sure we might come into one. I just don't, and I don't know it. But between Evan and I, we know a good chunk of these adaptations of these works. I can't think of one where he's an actual ghost.
Even we watched
Eric's
he was
Revenge,
a ghost.
And he's not a ghost.
You know who also wishes he was a ghost? Is the Phantom himself, because he would love to be dead.
He would love to be dead. He would love to not.
He don't want to be around no more.
It's true.
Like
it's true, and I think
he's got the mask and the hat and all of it. He's like, there's too much fucking shit on me. I don't want to be around
and
anymore.
Just the one friend and just like the one friend who doesn't like him ever really. He doesn't really have that in Megaplex, but he has a friend who does not care for him in all of these.
Does it remind you of anybody?
It's a
okay.
I love you. He has a miserable existence, and that is true throughout. He might not be a ghost, he might not be dead, he might be alive. It's still a miserable existence. Once we establish this, and once we get to this point, it is sort of a slapstick comedy. Evan, there's a couple moments.
Oh yeah.
Beside, after the industrial fan happens, the premiere is supposed to start. They kind of keep being like, we're not going to show, we're going to show up, and you better be ready. This threatening moment. And there's a great bit of business where we think that everything is set. Oh, what are you?
Oh,
drinking?
sorry, I just opened up. It's called Brewed Awakening.
Oh,
it's a caffeinated Belgian triple.
Right?
Oh wait, no, this is going yeast mode. Sorry, this is a caffeinated Belgian triple.
Going yeast mode.
It's an amazing
going yeast
mode. Oh, this one's ridiculousness. It's like a rye IPA with baker's yeast. I drink it when I watch 30 hours of BMX.
Do you have, now he's an asshole.
Like, if you like put your camera down, is it literally like 8 beers in front of you?
That one's Optimus Prime. It's a beer that starts as a lager and it transforms into a stout.
Wow.
I hate you. Somebody just opened 3 cans of Polar Lime Seltzer that now he's going to have to drink.
Oh, this one's Hotpocalypse Now. It's a beer that's been forcefully occupying my fridge for 20 years.
Oh, fuck. By the way,
Scott,
Kyle,
I think we're going to have to retire from drinking.
Did you tell Evan how I was glazing you about how funny the Prost to the Ghost was?
I was. We've been talking about potential shirt designs now, and then I had told him that I realized that I didn't realize that you were talking about Podpera, and I thought you were trying to come up with a good
no, baby,
t-shirt
it's
for H&M. And then no, it's for us. So they keep an eye out for Podpera merch. It's gonna be good. Prost to the Ghost. But the big climax of this is that there is going to be the premiere. It's going to happen. I guess that's the most similar to Phantom, besides there being an existing Phantom.
I thought the big climax was. I disagree. I thought the big climax was whether or not the mother was going to get proposed to.
You would think, and in another version, maybe that was the way to go. But
bum ass boyfriend.
George, who doesn't have a car.
Why
is
she into this guy? His car don't work. No reservations. Just bum ass dude.
She's used to children, and so she's used to being around children all the time. So she's like, "Fuck it. Why don't I just date a man child?"
Yeah, true. Yeah, who I can fix him.
Yeah, and he does one thing right at the end of the movie, and then they're going to be together forever. It's bullshit. But that's
ham-handed metaphor for marriage.
I am missing one note that is very important to horror movie night that I need to address. That PG-13 movie that they are watching called Glimpses of Genevieve is actually Alice motherfucking Sweet Alice.
Oh, looks familiar. Familiar.
There are. It's blurry on the screen, but there is a very clear yellow trench coat coming down the staircase, and it is actually Alice, Sweet Alice on the screen. There are not a lot of direct references in this movie at all, and the fact that is
she is
communion.
She is my sweet.
Scott was just showing.
Did I buy this from you?
Of.
I can't remember if I bought it from you or if some poor sap sold it to me on the retro horror paperbacks.
No, I remember the corner fold. And I think that we might have gotten that to you at one of the.
That would have been Creature Feature last year.
It's a great. But yeah, Alice Sweet Alice is the only direct sort of one of the few direct references in this movie, and it's because it's playing on the screen in a Disney movie. That's absolutely.
Did they pay for the rights? Do you think?
I think it's obscure. I bet you it's obscured enough, and nobody would have ever thought that it would be in there.
Until you came along, baby.
So we can confirm on Horror Movie Night. We can confirm on Horror Movie Night that Brooke Shields has never watched Phantom of the Megaplex.
There's no shot. Yeah, she would have said something. If you see something, say something. Brooke Shields.
This is all a ploy to get Brooke Shields to notice me. Like I'm putting the lure out there, like with the Phantom of the Megaplex. And if you put this in the show notes, then it'll come up like a Google alert that there's a new searchable thing for her.
Yeah.
Write all this down. This is how you get to meet. This is how I've met every celebrity I've ever met. Celebrities hate this one trick where I
being a fucking stalker. Yes.
Where I lure them into my lair.
So no, the climax is not the proposal. The climax is sort of that this big premiere now gets completely sabotaged by a Phantom who we still haven't quite figured out who it is.
There's a bit of a whodunit to it,
end.
which isn't a part of any other Phantom adaptation. We're all pretty clear in every other Phantom adaptation, like, oh, he's the Phantom. The Phantom is the Phantom.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yes, there's no question.
It's a little whodunit.
Whether he's a ghost or a real person, but there's no question as to like who the Phantom is. So you're right. There's a whodunit. Who we go through Merle, the projectionist. There's
21-year-old Merle, the projectionist.
Yeah. There is a question that is Mickey Rooney, and Mickey Rooney has these beautiful soliloquies about
Mickey
cinema.
Rooney was wearing his own shoes throughout this whole movie. I want to say
he
that.
He was wearing shape-ups, dude.
Like
he was wearing
shape-ups he brought from home. I'm convinced Mickey Rooney didn't know they were making a movie. He didn't know they were filming.
He literally just showed up.
I'm here anyways.
That's just they're like, you're not supposed to be here, and he's like, yeah, that's what my character's doing, right? You know, like
yeah. They're like, it's Mickey Rooney. What are we gonna tell him?
It's actually incredible acting job.
It's not acting if it's just you, right? Well, I mean, we can ask that about a lot of people like Tom Cruise and Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise. They're about the same height.
I met Mickey Rooney once when I was like 6 years old, and I don't remember anything of the interaction except we were about the same height.
You can tell that he should have been putting some fucking lips because he's talking to the 21-year-old manager who is, like the whatever. Maybe he's not 21, but whatever. He's the manager, and Mickey Rooney is literally like looking up at him like a child at the bank, trying to see the bank teller. It's crazy.
With lollipops.
Yeah. He got paid. There's a few shots where you see just his black and white
oversized lollipops,
bringing him up 2 inches, dude. Crazy. The big premiere gets sabotaged by 3 different blow up animals. One being a dinosaur, one being a male gorilla, one being a female gorilla dressed up in a skirt.
Did you just assume the inflatable gorilla's gender?
You're right. I apologize.
It was actually
we just have a gorilla in a dress.
Chimpanzee. It was Tanga from last week's episode of
it was Tanga from Phenomena in some getup, in some world premiere red carpet getup. The Phantom just decides to blow up into the emergency exits and the balcony of the premiere and really scare the shit out of everybody. It's not the most menacing thing. I also want to say that the Phantom, when we do finally see the getup of this Phantom, looks like they got it from fucking.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. I'm not gonna talk shit.
Go back to Party City where you belong, Phantom.
Go back to the purple aisle where you belong.
But you know, it's just so funny because you look at how bad that outfit is. That costume is just so shit, and you're like, yeah, that's like, you know, the Halloween aisle at CVS. It's no Spirit Halloween. You know.
Yeah.
No, it's no Spirit. It is absolutely no Spirit. It is very bare bones CVS. It's bad. The mask is a full white.
And he can't. That's why his hijinks have to be so pedestrian because he can't fucking breathe.
No, he's got to do them quick and get out.
He's got it. Quick in and out. He knows how the theater works. We find out that the Phantom is Sean McGibbon, the manager, who then the producer of the film that's playing thinks that he does such a good job of being a menacing freak that he offers him a role,
which raised this question for me upon my viewing is at the end of the movie, the producer of Midnight Mayhem goes up to Sean McGibbon, who's not arrested. He just was allowed to stay because I guess no one's ever escorted out of this place, movie Mason included, and he's just hanging out, and the producer of Midnight Mayhem goes to him, he goes, honestly, man, like that was really neat. I see dollar signs. Think about it on the big screen. Phantom of the Megaplex. And I'm like, wait a minute. Did we just watch Phantom of the Megaplex or did we just watch Phantom of the Megaplex? Did we watch the movie that they're talking about or is there a movie in their universe that's not been made yet? And I don't know which is which.
Oh, I was thinking that it was like the prequel to the actual movie.
Because he just pitches it as Phantom of the Megaplex. So it's like...
this is the Monster Mash. This is the Pearl to X.
It's like I feel like there's like a very quick throwaway line about why Sean's not getting arrested, where like the owner of the Megaplex is just like, you're lucky no one got hurt, or I'd have the cops coming in. You're like, it's such like a
ADR
nonsense.
off-screen.
That's the thing.
Can I just say, I worked at a movie theater for 7 years from high school into college.
I was going to ask who amongst us worked at a movie theater, because I did not.
I worked at a video store, so Evan probably is the only one, right?
That's a major bummer. You had the job I wanted, Scott.
Did.
I would have rather that. But
Matt and I both had that job. Right, Matt, you worked at a video store, right?
I worked at a video store at a really weird time to work at a video store, which was like 2008. When like Netflix and all the streaming sites were murdering the video stores, so
but you
only
had Man
people
of the Year.
Must have felt good.
Oh my god, the only people who came in the store were like diehards like me. So it'd be like you get like 10 customers,
too many weirdos, too many weirdos.
Yeah,
come
you
on,
get 10
Matt.
customers, and all 10 of them were people you wanted to talk to. It was awesome.
In 2008, I mean, you probably had a really good run with Robin Williams' Man of the Year on DVD. That was probably a pretty neat.
We had two shelves of Man of the Year.
I went and used my free rental that they sent me in the mail and set up an account at Blockbuster to rent Man of the Year. I walked to Blockbuster. I didn't have a car.
So the craziest, my freshman year of college was 2004. That is when I digested the most new content I ever took in, because I had the Netflix stuff coming in the mail, and I was 4 discs at a time. And then in addition to that, I also had the Blockbuster card that was their attempt to fight Netflix, which was like the unlimited rentals with no late fee. So I would rent 3 movies from Blockbuster, come home. Usually there'd also be at least 1 Netflix disc in the mail. I'd get home at like 9 o'clock from college and just go straight into the basement and watch all 4 movies until like 5 in the morning, drop the Netflix in the mailbox, sleep until my afternoon classes, drop the Blockbuster videos into the return slot, do school, and then come back to the Blockbuster to get 3 more videos, get the next, and I would just do about 3 to 4 movies every single night for an entire semester of college.
That's perfect.
Those are numbers.
Easy. Oh my God. And the big thing for Netflix was like, to me, Netflix had all like the trauma movies and the full moon films that Blockbuster would never carry. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. I'm getting like,
education.
I'm getting the mainstream shit from the Blockbuster, and I'm getting like the deep cut shit from the Netflix.
No, I only worked at a regular theater. I didn't work at a movie theater. I just worked at like a stage theater. But you had the real
when I was working at the movie theater, similar to what you were saying, would
you have to watch like the same movie like 20 times?
So I would see the same way you would rent so much stuff, and you saw so many new movies with the Blockbuster account. I would see everything. I would go see everything, to the point where I would run out of things to go see. And that's how I ended up seeing Mr. Popper's Penguins in theaters, because I was just like, oh, there's nothing left.
Literally. And I'm getting paid to watch movies. I got
That was when I worked at the video store in 2008. I was the assistant manager, which they hired me as assistant manager. Like, I didn't even start at any other role. They're like, oh, this guy's got a college degree and seems like he knows a little bit about film. But we would get the new releases a solid week before they hit the shelves. So I took it upon myself. This was not in my job description, but I was like, well, I need to know the quality of all of the new releases, so that if someone asks for a recommendation, so I would take all of them home with me and watch every new release before we put it on the shelf, including the straight-to-video garbage. So, like, when it was the After Dark 8 Films to Die For week.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've discussed that on the show before. Matt watched more of those than I did, which is pretty impressive.
Well, when they're free to grab.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, my time's worth negative money.
Oh, my God. And then I would, because nobody was in the store, and I love the way that we had this set up. We had it set up so that there was a VCR DVD player that went to the TVs inside the video store, but then we had a smaller TV with a separate VCR DVD player behind the counter. Because it was so slow, we would put on like whatever new Disney movie was on in the store, and then we'd be watching like whatever new horror movie came on behind the register. Oh my God. Best job I ever had for the worst pay I've ever received.
Can confirm. Absolutely. I will say,
just like Mickey Rooney, you do it for the love of cinema.
You do it for the love of cinema, and that's why that speech makes you cry.
Live there.
And just like Mickey Rooney, when you would go to work, you would wear your own sneakers that you brought from home.
I literally loved working there so much that I booked myself double shifts on my birthday because there was nowhere else I'd rather be than in the video store.
Matthew.
Man.
I remember the one.
Nobody wants to work anymore because that's why.
I've always said if I had a time machine, like I would go back and work at least like 12 to 8:30 shift at the theater. Just like, and if the time machine worked, that like all my buddies were still there and whatnot, that would absolutely roll.
Oh my God. I remember there would be random days I'd walk in, I'd be like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to watch all the Star Wars movies starting from Phantom Menace up to Return of the Jedi today.
Wow.
Well, because it was always the busiest in the beginning of the day.
Sure.
Right? So like people were bothering me during the prequels, but then as it slowed down in the afternoon, I was ready for the real ones.
Yeah.
Do you know how many corn dog nuggets we stole?
Judging by your accent, I know exactly how many corn dog nuggets that you stole.
They had to.
You thought it was COVID. It was
they
corn
had
dog
to start. They had to start inventorying individual nuggets because we were taking them. So we were taking so many. Whereas before they would just have to be like, okay, we have like 2 full bags. They'd have to be like, great, yeah, we have 1 bag of 80 and another bag of 72. Guys, knock it off! Like they caught on to us.
Evan, where are you?
What was the
where
most
are you originally
similar...
from?
Oh, go ahead.
Boston.
That accent, man. But thought that's what I heard. That's why the corn dog nuggets were going.
Corn dog nuggets, kid.
It sort of emphasizes when you're not in the area. Sometimes it like sort of like alerts. It's like trying to find your some of your own when you're out of the.
A mile away. I was an intern for a famous comedian in college. His name starts with an A. And ends with damn Sandler. And I remember the first day that they introduced me to him, I was like, oh, hi, Mr. Sandler. I'm one of the interns. Very, very happy to be here. He went, stop. What's that? Is that a New England accent? Where are you from? He like knew immediately. And I was like, so I guess it's more pronounced than I ever imagined.
Put down that smartphone and listen to me. I'm Matthew Milligan, professional musician and lifelong Weird Al fan. Each week, I'm joined by professional podcaster and close personal friend Matt Kelly to take a dive off the deep end into the vast career of pop culture icon Weird Al Yankovic on our show, Weird Algorithm. Along with some very special guests from the worlds of music and comedy, we tackle every song, every television appearance, and every bit of sketch comedy Al has produced in chronological order, covering the good old days of My Bologna and Eat It, the fun zone of tacky and white and nerdy, and everything in between. As we go, we're ranking the songs, albums, and music videos in the hopes of creating the ultimate guide to a career bigger than the biggest ball of twine in Minnesota. So the next time you're having one of those days, stuck in a traffic jam, wondering why does this always happen to me, just kick off your sneakers and stick around for a while because we've got it all on Weird Algorithm, available wherever you get your podcasts. And now you know. Was that enough references?
I don't have any more about Phantom of the Megaplex. I don't know if
the
you guys
only
do.
note that we didn't tackle was I said I love this silhouette fight, but that's about all my thoughts.
Oh, the silhouette fight's fun. That's true.
There is
very big hero
moment. I
moment.
wrote this. I had a couple of quick ones we can get through. I wrote this when the movie premiere happens. I wrote verbatim. I wrote ugly movie premiere. I've been to movie premieres. Movie premieres are hot. Every single person is hot, and then there's me hating my body. That's how movie premieres work.
That's what so Midnight Mayhem
is very
not
ugly premiere.
Up to snuff.
I would fit in. Oh, the greatest bit. Kyle and I rewound it because it cracked us up. I'm not even going to be able to talk about it with a straight face.
We did. Oh yes, we did get to watch this together. By the way, we didn't say that at the time. I don't know if we said it at the time. We got to watch it together. I didn't
stop laughing, and I'm laughing now just thinking about it. When the mother calls the payphone, she calls to like get a hold of her kids, and the only number she has for no cell phones. The only number she has is for the payphone in the lobby, and some random like stoner hippie guy looking guy picks up, and she goes, "Hello," and he goes, "City morgue." And she hangs up on her, and it cuts to the hangs up the phone.
Fucking jump scare, man.
There are so many stoner comedy moments in this that makes me. We were talking about this, Evan and I. It made us feel like this was a stoner comedy that then like Disney bought and watered down to be like this, Disney movie fodder. There's a lot of all those teenage characters felt like they should have been stoned or older older and stoned. It didn't feel
calls
like
everybody hun, and you're like, this was clearly like supposed to be like a 60-year-old like retiree who works
such a
part-time,
weird character.
but now it's
like
20-year-old girl who calls everybody hun and sweetie and remarks on like, "Oh, Brian, you're getting big." It's like, what? If a 19-year-old said it to me, I called police. Like, pack your bags. You're going
I beat
to
the shit
jail.
out of them and asked my friend to post it on Snapchat. Yeah, you're
City
done.
morgue.
You're done, son. Sorry. City morgue. That was a good bit of business.
She calls back, and like one of the son's coworkers picks up and is like, "Oh, hey." What's his name? Riley. Oh, hey, Riley's mom. Let me go get him. But I just was fake for a split second. It's like, what if this person picks up the phone and goes City morgue? It's like
a 5-minute thing.
Evan, you are the guest on this week's episode, so we are going to gift you the first person to pick a double feature. So
oh my gosh.
You had friends over to watch Phantom of the Megaplex. What are you watching next?
So I took this into consideration, and I considered like, since this one is like such a romp, it's a little lighthearted, and this is horror movie night, it doesn't really get into the horror. So I want to counter that. So I picked the scariest movie could ever possibly think of. I think the scariest film that I've ever seen, Kids by Larry Clark.
Oh, Jesus.
See, it's scary.
Wow. I don't know if scary is the word, but absolutely soul-crushing is the word that I
watched it once, and that was the exact amount of times I wanted to ever watch it.
I watched the trailer, and that was enough for me.
Kyle, how about you, buddy? Are you watching also? What are you going to put in, 13? What's...
I'm gonna pick popcorn.
God,
I'm picking
fucker!
Yeah,
you scoop man and me.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I know there's other ones, but I went popcorn. I think it's going to work out.
Shit.
It's going to work out for
All
us.
right, Scott, how about you?
Well, I just needed... I kind of had a feeling that if I was in the rotation behind Matt, that I was going to get scooped on popcorn, because it's so very obviously like a better version of this movie. So I was like, what's another movie? I actually had to Google horror movies. I found a couple of lists that were like horror movies that take place in theaters. So it's like just not a trope that I think of. Blob 1988 takes place in a theater, so why not Blob 1988? One of my all-time favorite movies. So
well, allow me to be the only person that picks something that also has Phantom in its title, since Kyle stole popcorn from me. So update the ticker, because obviously I'm going with Phantom of the Paradise.
Yep.
That was my assumption that you were going to go with if you didn't go with popcorn.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Scott. Well, you know what I also appreciate?
Matinee. I should have done Matinee.
Oh, you should have done Matinee.
Matt would have obviously picked Matinee if he had gone down through his list enough. He's
if I
very
went deep enough, yeah. Fuck off.
Oh, now you're getting mad about me making a joke about you being predictable.
Anyway, go to patreon.com/HMM podcast if you want to see Evan's kick-ass Phantom mask. Also, if you just want to help support the podcast. Also, if you want to help support the podcast, go to hmnpodcast.com to buy some cool merch, or go to dasherly.com/HMN to buy some other cool merch. There's a whole bunch that we can figure out from that. Honestly, you choose your own adventure on where to get your shirts, but go to both, check it out. Also visit us on all of our socials, HMN Podcast, on damn near every website you can imagine, and email us at hmnpodcast@gmail.com to sign up for our newsletter. Now,
wait, has our OnlyFans finally dropped?
Yes.
OnlyFans/HMN Podcast?
Yeah.
Is it more
it's
like
mostly
HMN
just my feet?
Cast?
Yes.
Oh, my feet.
But so at this
Only
point
feet.
in the show, normally we would talk about something that we watched or listened to or whatever that we wanted to promote.
Yeah.
But you know what? Let's just promote the newest podcast on the Geekscape network, Phantom of the Podpera.
Not only the newest podcast on the Geekscape network, the sexiest podcast on the Geekscape network.
I can agree. As long as that
you
mask stays on.
Talking about,
as long as it
Matt's
stays
really
on, we
into
talk about
play.
this. This is Schrodinger's hot guy. You don't know if I'm like, that's the edge of hope. I could be really hot under this mask, and you guys would never know. So you just live on that hope that he's a hot podcast host, which is
listen.
An oxymoron.
You get the mask, you get the Boston accent. Yeah, I'm making clam chowder.
Yeah. As long as he's masked.
I'm in the lair.
As long as he's masked in 5 chambers underground, he's hot as hell.
As long as there's no other men around.
We did. It started because Evan literally, and this is a thing that Evan will do. Sorry, Evan, I'm gonna blow up your spot
please.
here. You will text me sometimes a joke or a pun or some sort of play on words, and then just follow up with, "Is this a
something?"
thing?" Or and is that something, like, you know? And most of the time it is something, but really, because Evan and I get each other, it's more of a thing that like makes us laugh. And Phantom of the Podpera was one of these instances that really felt like it was lightning in a bottle. It was a really, really funny joke. And then on top of the play on the words of the title, I mean, there's a distinct interest in Phantom of the Opera from both of our ends, right? Like from the front end and the back end. We have a lot of interest in Phantom of the Opera. But we talked about this on an early episode of ours where you got to kind of get an idea of us. But you know, Evan comes from a theater and a film background, and I come from a horror and a film background. And then we also have, you know, early on in our interests of pop culture, and then we've come together because we are both filmmakers and we're both creatives, and we bonded over later on in our lives, really, but we did bond over Phantom of the Opera in order to make this thing happen. I think we both knew that there's interest in or understanding of like what the property is, but to then really think about like what it could be if we were to just banter about Phantom of the Opera, it seemed like a really fun thing for us to do on top of all the other shit that we're doing. But that's sort of like what got me excited about it. But Evan, if you have more to add, or if you hate it, then you know
when we first started doing the podcast, I thought, ugh. But now I really hate it. The shout out. It's a real big fish shout out. No, it's been great. It's been a lot of fun. I'm not gonna take credit for that. That was real big fish. Just in case you weren't sure if I was cool or not.
Bro, you fit in very well.
Phantom of the Opera has randomly been like, it's like my second favorite thing in fiction, only behind Batman. Like, just absolutely obsessed with it. When I was a kid, my mother had the soundtrack, and I was like, what is this we're listening to? She's like, it's like a spooky show. I was like, I'm in. And like from there, I just had children's adaptations and all sorts of stuff. So the fact that, I mean, listen, Kyle said, I'll text him all sorts of stuff and say, is that something? And finally, when it was Phantom of the Podpera, is that something? It was. But I mean, he could have gone with any of these. He could have gone with pooping on the shits instead of putting on the Ritz. You know, was that something? Yeah. It wasn't. Bridget Jones's
Geek
diarrhea. Bridget Jones's diarrhea. That wasn't something. So we're very lucky. Biclop.
We're very
Biclop,
I'm very
the
lucky. I
Cyclops
feel
with
very
two
blessed.
eyes. Is that something? And I don't think it was. So I'm very grateful that Kyle, we found a diamond in the rough. We found the needle in the haystack. And I am very grateful to Geekscape for having us, because it's actually been a blast, and it's something I'm very passionate about. So we can spread that passion out there. It's in fashion.
Mm-hmm. We've been having a good time with it so far. It's early on. I mean, we're doing it. We're the starting point is that it's chronologically. It's starting to feel like, that GIF of that runway model who was on heels and she starts sort of wobbling, but she continues to go. I do fear that we might break the chronology, but I'm sort of actively trying to stick to it. It's just been so exciting. Like, it's one of those things where you just sort of you think it could go either way. You could think it's going to be fun and cool, and it actually just fucking flops, but then in this instance, it's fun and cool, and I've been having even more fun.
I think we're just ignorant enough to make it cool. because
yes, right. It's not. There's not a lot
learning is
riding on
cool,
it.
and we're learning, and knowledge is free, and that's kind of the slogan of the show.
And
knowledge
is free, and I think that's something that we want everybody to take away.
Knowledge is free.
That knowledge is free, especially if it's about Phantom of the Opera, which there's such a huge fan base for, not just a particular adaptation, but just the general like story and whole scheme of it. You know, it's quite interesting. So I'm having a lot of fun with it. I think Evan is too, and I'm glad we got to talk about it more on Horror Movie Night, because I think without Horror Movie Night, honestly, if I give you guys a few flowers here, it probably wouldn't have happened. You know, I don't think I would have been wanting to do a podcast at all, other than doing this.
The joy of being a guest on Horror Movie Night is that I get to hear the show first, because it's happening right now. And then I don't have to hear the theme song that scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, that made me laugh so hard when I was Kyle sent me the first episode just to be like, hey, let me know if this sounds good enough for Geekscape. Which
he sent it to you.
So
and said,
funny.
Is this something?
so funny that he thinks that there is a bar of entry to Geekscape. But I had to drive 2 hours from a concert that I was doing merch for. It was like a 2-hour drive from like 11 p.m. until 1 a.m. And I was like, this will keep me awake. And you talking about how scared the Horror Movie Night opening cackle makes you really delighted me. That was terrifying. Like, that woke me up for another like 45 minutes because I was laughing hard enough at that.
He was like, Scott can do the theme as long as there's not an insane laugh.
It's effective art.
He described it as Will Ferrell playing with the Jack-in-the-Boxes in Elf, which is like such a perfect visual of like knowing that something scary is going to happen.
You can just press fast forward twice and then rewind once. It gets you to 45 seconds. He
doesn't want to miss a second of what we say when that theme ends.
I don't want to miss a second of Matt popping in and saying like, welcome back to the show, Horror Movie Night.
I literally don't even listen to our podcast anymore.
If I don't hear Matt say welcome to Horror Movie Night, I don't know what I'm listening to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what is... It could be
8
you hear my voice, that doesn't give you any guidance.
I'm like, this is a weird episode of Weird Algorithm. Like, why are they talking about Silent Night, Deadly Night? This is weird.
Hey, Kyle, real quick, next time the two of you are together, you should absolutely make him listen to my cover of Life at Last from Phantom of the Paradise. He would love it. I'm sure that won't absolutely traumatize him.
That won't scar or scare. All right. Well, Evan, thank you so much for being on the show. Everybody go and support Phantom of the Podpera, and we will be back next week with even more Horror Movie Night goodness.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.